My name is Richard Barrett. I'm an attorney and a partner at Smith Barrett. And Smith Barrett is an estate planning, elder law, and special needs firm. And what I wanted to talk about a little bit today was estate planning, because a lot of people hear the phrase estate planning and they think Rockefeller or Bill Gates, and hey, I don't have an estate, I just have a bunch of stuff. And the fact is, under Georgia law and the law of most states, your estate is really just everything you own. So it's really important, if you're a multimillionaire or you're just a regular person, that you have the right tools in place to make sure that if you pass away or are incapacitated, that things are going to happen the way you want them to happen. And I think something people don't think about, a lot of folks who come into our office finally at age 65, 75, 80, haven't done anything, or their planning was done, 25 or 30 years ago, and people think, well, I'm 35, I'm 40, I'm 50, I don't really need to get that done, I have plenty of time. And there's a couple of things about that. One is, none of us knows exactly how much time we have, but the other is, it's important to have that planning in place regardless of your age, because most people come into the office thinking about what happens when I die. And of course, someday we'll all die, but an important thing to think about that most people skip over is, what's going to happen if I become incapacitated? What if I'm in a terrible wreck or I have a stroke, just something unforeseen? If you have the right documentation, the right tools in place, it makes things far easier for the people around you, your loved ones, but also for you to make sure you're taken care of the way you want to be taken care of. Because if you don't take the opportunity to do that, the state has a mechanism in place. So if you want to put your fate in the hands of our state legislators and our judges, you can do that. You can have no plan at all, and then if something happens, then a judge sitting behind a bench with a robe who's never met you before is going to make critically important decisions about who's going to be in control of your money, your income, your assets, your family, your own personal health decisions. And to me, to our firm, that really just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to be complicated. Almost everyone who sits down with us, whether they're a multimillionaire or just a regular working person, they say, I want to keep it simple. And I want people to know that's our goal, is to keep it simple. But sometimes things being too simple can make things much more complicated later for the people coming along behind. So what you need is to sit down with an attorney who knows what they're doing in this area and can ask you the right questions. Many people come into our office with sort of a list of what they want. I want a will, I want a power of attorney. And those are all good things, good tools to use, but the approach we like to take is, I like to think, sort of the way a doctor would do it. We want to sit down and talk with the client and see, what are your concerns? What's bothering you? What sort of things do you want to plan for? And from there, we can prescribe, because a doctor wouldn't sit down with you and say, oh, you got a headache, here's a prescription, go away. They'd say, talk to me about what's been going on. What are you eating? Have you been exposed to anything? Have you been sick lately? We have a similar process. We have people give us a little bit of information to start off with. We'll review that. And then we just sit down and have a discussion, a friendly discussion, asking questions to learn about themselves, their assets and income certainly, but more importantly, their family, their friends, what kind of legacy they want to leave, and how they want to be cared for if something happens to them. And from there, we can decide what tools to use to make sure that things happen the way they want them to happen.